I didn't want to interrupt the song. That sounded really cool. I don't think I've heard that one before, or at least paid attention to it. Anyway, hello, and welcome to another One Line of Code. I am One Line. Happy Monday to you. I hope it's going great. Hi, Reg. 9K. I am working on opening the project, pulling Git changes from the other computer, and I want to finally fix my my bot not being able to run when it's installed as a service, because for whatever reason Chrome is no longer trusting my certificate that I'm using for that bot. Export all extended properties. So right now what I did is I created a new certificate, and I am working on making sure that it is set up to be the certificate that the bot uses when it's running as Kestrel. Are you living in a room of giants? You better believe it. I'm just a puny little thing in the corner, minding my own business. They're usually pretty relaxed and laid back. They don't chase me very often, which is nice. Okay, I want this. Save. Pasta. Browse. D drive. Oh, hi, Gilgamesh. Hello, President Not Sure. You had an earthquake. Was it a big one? Let's make a backup of you. Okay, and then overwrite you. Next, finish, and I need to update your thumbprint. What is your thumbprint, please? This. So the thing I don't like about copying and pasting thumbprints from the, what's it called? MMC? Snap-in? Is that it copies some non-printing characters. And I keep forgetting. Although, you don't need the thumbprint because you're using the actual file, so never mind. That doesn't even matter. Okay, so let's try publishing this and then reinstall. Oh, I was trying to remove it first. So how do I remove a service using NSSM? We do NSSM uninstall something. NSSM uninstall. And then just the name. Remove. NSSM remove service name. NSSM remove. And I think I just called it Twitch bot. Sorry, I covered up chat a little bit, but I will read it. And we'll get to work very shortly. President Not Sure was saying I read 4.1 centered in Maine and a 3.8 in Boston. But we don't often get ones we can feel. So it was unnerving. Yeah, that sounds crazy. Revised to 3.8. 3.8 is small, 8 is huge, 8 is catastrophic. That dog behind me moved. I'm not worried about the behind. I don't care about dogs' butts. Kidding, a kid. Okay, paste you there. Okay, we are deleting the service, and now we're going to... Oh, I think I need to run this as admin. No, okay, good. It did remove. I need to run an admin terminal. Don't mind me though. I'm getting started very shortly. Today is going to be a fun day. Yeah, it's possible I may have felt one since being here. We've lived here since 2017, I want to say. It's almost been 10 years. Has it really? I moved to Washington in 2014. Yeah. I've been here since 2017. Holy cow. Oh my gosh. Jiminy. Gilgamesh is wondering if anyone is using JetBrains Writer since it's free. Okay. CD. Nope. D drive. CD. Web apps. Twitch. Okay. So now I can do NSSM install, which brings up the window. Path is going to be this location. It's going to be the executable there. We're calling it TwitchBot service or something. Is that what I called it? I don't care what I called it. I can name it whatever I want, whenever I want, however I want. Details, TwitchBot service, the local bot. I'm doing such a good naming job. Gonna run a system. My input output files are going to web server apps logs, TwitchBot in out and error. Oops. And if you guys haven't used NSSM before, though, I strongly recommend NSSM if you install Windows services on your own machine or even on server machines. NSSM is such a great tool. I mean, it's very remedial looking, or not remedial, rudimentary looking. It's very simple, but it makes creating services so much easier and faster. Replace TwitchBot service. Okay, I am almost done. We'll test to see if the bot is actually working. Once I get back to my services window, refresh. It looks like it's stopped. So let's start it. Okay, so here is the issue that I've been running into while trying to run my Twitch bot. What is the address for this one? Don't mind me. 7269. 69. Oops, not data import. Yeah, so I'm still getting the same certificate error, even though I have trusted this certificate. It's not that big of an issue because it does let me through, but when I try to do the authentication, yeah, everything just breaks. Dang it. I'm gonna try to, I mean, it is in my trusted root store. That's the thing. Web server apps, TwitchBot, certificate, install, local machine. That's the file. This is the key. Place it in trusted root. Okay, let me stop the service again. I'm almost there, I promise. Promise, promise, promise. Promises, promises. Yes, that was my Destiny's Child. Hello, Zaid. Zaid responded to you, Gilgamesh. So much fear-mongering, though. Come on, I trusted the flippin' certificate. Is it because I need the organization? Right, there were some changes to the parts of the certificate that are required. And I think organizational and organizational unit are required now. Okay, well, looks like I'm still running the bot through Visual Studio for now. I was hoping to fix that because I'm doing my Monday music stream, and I don't want to have to like I don't think I even set up Visual Studio on that profile yet to be able to run the bot. Okay, run bot. While the bot is starting to run, allow me to say hello to everyone. So as I mentioned earlier, Reg came in, he was first, and Gilgamesh was asking about the room we're in and if anyone is using Writer. President Not Sure told us about an earthquake that was centered in Maine. It was about a 3.1. Talked about earthquake sizes. Don't recall them in Denver, says Reg. I recalled how long I've been in Colorado. Been a while since I've stayed in a place for more than 3 years. Okay, JetBrains Writer is free. Is anyone using it? I read on Reddit it's filled with spyware of some sort. Reg says I have it to play with, but since I use Visual Studio Community, it makes it hard to switch muscle memory. I use Writer every now and then, says Zaid, for my Blazor development. TBD Gamer uses Writer all the time, says Reg. Zaid says, I like it a lot, but Hot Reload stops working at times, which is rough. Same with Visual Studio, though. You're going to get the same experience. I don't have a reason to switch IDEs because I am very comfortable with the one that I use, and it does everything that I want it to do. I haven't really tried Writer, but again, I don't have a reason to because I am highly productive in the IDE that I am using. Then Dukesoft is here. He says, turns out I'm not quite ready to be a pro Blazor developer. I will still finish what I've started. Have been fighting Entity Framework all day. Adding an entity framework within adding an entity within another entity is feckin' annoying. I have no idea if I'm using the correct names for stuff. Just wanted to release some steam. You are absolutely allowed to. That is called creating a navigation property. One thing to keep in mind while doing navigation properties is to make them virtual. And two, you may need to manually configure them if the primary keys and foreign keys are not following a name convention. So I will show you what I mean by that if you're interested. If you aren't really wanting to see anything of the sort and you just want to figure it out, definitely don't feel the need to pay attention. This is unsolicited guidance / gotchas and stuff, and you definitely don't have to pay attention to it if you don't want. So for example, is RTrack even a good one to use? I haven't imported TRN. RTrack is not a good one. Let's use a database that I know has relational tables. I mean, they're all relational tables because this is SQL Server, but some of the databases are just, they weren't done in a relational kind of way. And even this one wasn't done in a good relational kind of way. TBD, we were just talking about TBD. Okay. So here is an entity. So you were using that term correctly. And let's say it is a lookup table. And this is lookup system table. It has a one-to-many, one lookup system to many lookup system reports. So that navigation property, the thing that I just told you how to call it, is a virtual iCollection of lookup system report. And then the name of the relationship, the name of the object is lookup system reports, plural. So that's one part of the two-way one-to-many navigation property. Now, if we go into the lookup system itself, we'll see that a lookup system has a system ID. Notice the naming, system ID, which refers to one, oh, I guess this is terrible because I'm calling this a lookup system, which refers to one lookup system. So because this system ID's property name does not match the navigation property's name, which again is a virtual singular lookup system, which indicates at least a one-to-one relationship between lookup system report. But again, once we go to lookup system, we see that this is many. So now we know that this is a one-to-many relationship. So if this object here was just system by itself, or even the property name, the object doesn't matter. If this was system, Entity Framework would be smart enough to know that this system ID is the foreign key for this system navigation property. Again, this virtual keyword is pretty important when creating navigation properties because it allows Entity Framework to hook up a whole bunch of other stuff behind the scenes for populating the lookup system object based off of a looked up query. So then because they don't match though, the system ID foreign key and the lookup system, if we look in my database context for lookup system report, you will see that I have configured the one-to-many, which one of you is it? Yeah, the one-to-many relationship between lookup system and lookup system reports. Okay, well, I leave that on the screen. I'm going to keep catching up in chat. Gilgamesh says, okay, I installed it, but then I was asking for registration. Release games on Steam. Oh, to release your Steam. I get it, Gilgamesh. My inner Steam. I'm okay now. Reg says, since I'm database first, I use native SQL stuff instead of Entity Framework like MS SQL and VS Code. And Dukasoft is using code first. I got it working though, so I'm not in need of help at the moment. I should have kept reading. Although Dukasoft releasing games on Steam, I'm with you there. How'd you do it? Asked Gilgamesh. I'm sure it's a pretty long story, one that he probably would have trouble typing in chat. And Reg says, I use Microsoft.data.SQL client. Yeah. I like Entity Framework though. A lot of people seem to have issue with it, but I like it a lot. I find it very easy to use and configure. Gilgamesh says, refer to any documentation article I can look at. I can refer to the last 5 to 8 minutes of me blabbering away. And you can rewatch that on the YouTube VOD once it's posted. Dukasoft said, it's hack and slash on my own code. Suddenly it worked. Shout out to TBD Gamer because we saw his initials. It's just great that his initials are TBD. That's so awesome. It must be nice. I was missing the system ID completely. You didn't have the navigation property. It will still create for you, like if, or not navigation, the foreign key. If you have a navigation property in one and a navigation property in the other, and they are, like let's say they're both, instead of collections, they're both just this, then it would create a third behind the scenes table for you that would do the association of the two. So it's still a one-to-one, where in this intermediary table that they give you, which is usually a many-to-many type of situation, they still have like the ID from left table, ID from right table, and you're still able to get the navigation properties, but you can't set the, well, you can, and you can still set the navigation properties value to refer to another record, and it'll do all that for you. But yeah, it's a lot more difficult to keep track of, in my opinion. Oh yeah, and you say it was auto added to the database. What is in my teeth? I think I was saving that for later. That's tasty. Kind of tastes like a bean skin. It's the bean from the Sichuan sauce that I had last night for dinner. Oh, it's so tasty today. I'm not using virtual iCollection. My code reads like public. I recommend using the virtual keyword though. You get a lot of additional functionality on your navigation property. Just add virtual. You don't have to do another migration, nothing like that. It's only a code change. It doesn't affect the database itself. Hello, Zeries. How have you been? Like, again, you probably aren't doing a many-to-one or one-to-many, so you don't need the iCollection. That's only if you're doing a many-to-one, one-to-many. Not bad. How's it going? Well, it hasn't gone anywhere yet since we haven't really gotten started. I'm just greeting everyone still. I was trying to get my bot reinstalled as a service and running as a service, but I'm still having a lot of trouble with having the browser trust my certificates. In which case, I really should just be deploying the HTTP version. But since I do eventually plan on hosting this in the cloud, may as well keep it working with HTTPS. I'll do that someday. Someday, maybe. But for now, let's talk about my work product, shall we? Since I need to actually get stuff done. And of course, anything that you feel like bringing up in chat, please continue feeling free to. Gilgamesh's conversation is still open about Writer, JetBrains, for anyone that wants to respond to that. Yes, I am only using the dev cert. So the way that I create the certificate, it's a good question. It's not silly. The way that I am creating the certificate is by using new self-signed certificate function. I forget what they're called in PowerShell, but anyway, this has a name. the built-in functions and stuff. I'm giving it a name, a DNS name. What I think I need to do is populate the organization and the organizational unit. Key usage is for web hosting, digital signature, and key encipherment. And then subject is automated realms. And then I make it expire in 100 years, so it never expires, which means that the previous one that was working this whole time should continue working, except that there was probably a Chrome update to not allow certificates that don't have the correct configurations, which keeps happening. They keep adding more requirements to what you must have in a certificate in order for Chrome to even allow it at all. So yeah, so this is how I'm creating the certificate. I think I just need to add those extra properties. Oh, and not only that, but the DNS name, the DNS name is my real domain, and this is being hosted locally, so this should be localhost. That's the other thing. I'll try it with localhost next time. Let me just make a note. Might need to use localhost. I've also used a Visual Studio created certificate. So the dev certificate that Visual Studio creates, I've tried using that. The thing that I haven't done was use localhost in my certificate, nor try adding the organization and organizational unit, because it almost seemed like it was needed. But yeah, everything should be up and running. Let me just go back to this screen. I'm too lazy to push studio mode and do this, but I'm refreshing the archery bot. That's all that screen was. Okay, here we go. So let's talk about what is going on currently. I'm in the process of trying really hard to get the table hover effect to synchronize. So I am forwarding events from one table row, mouse move events, from one table row to another table row. What we're most likely going to do today is create or modify an existing code pen that is the most simple version of this. Yeah, you are quite welcome, Dukesoft, and feel free to ask questions whenever you happen to have any. If you aren't comfortable asking it in a public forum, DM me directly with your question. You know that I will not in any way, shape, or form berate you for asking any questions. Or hopefully I won't make you feel bad for asking questions that you think someone else might think are stupid questions, because they're not. They're things that you don't currently know and you would like information about, and you're asking about it. If I didn't want the information, I wouldn't have asked. Anyway. I always forget the difference between virtual and abstract. So virtual, well, okay. Abstract in C#, I believe, can only be used on in abstract classes or on an actual class declaration. Abstract means that the inheriting or implementing class must implement this method or property or whatever it is. So abstract says, if you are going to inherit me, then you must have this method defined or this property defined. Virtual says you can override it, and it can be used just about anywhere. You can override this method, this property. So think abstract is you must, virtual is you can. Correct, but yeah, correct. An abstract does not have a method body. Virtual must have a method body. Yes. Duka duka duka. Duka's dancing. No Duka command. What happened? Yeah, cool. I made a character with your hairstyle, but the beard is wrong. I was about to trim my beard today. It is getting inside of my mouth. I am tired of eating it. I got hot chocolate all over it last night. I thought you were gonna raid me. Hello, and welcome in, Raiders. Hi, Anna. How was your stream? I hope you had a fun time. Of course, I was lurking on your stream, hanging out. I enjoy your stream so much. I enjoy hanging out with you. If you don't know Anna, check her out. She is an amazing developer, super smart, has a wide range of technologies that she knows how to use, and just creates everything from scratch. as a compulsion, kind of seems like, but yeah. Zaid says, I am now using Writer, giving it another go. Well, I hope it works for you. I hate when the facial hair gets long like that. I mean, there are some people that can manage it and it works for them, but me? I sure can't. Stream went awesome, says Anna. We are building our own dependency container, see, from my game engine, but we're stuck on a Roslyn generator when trying to find a value from a nested constructor of an attribute. What is a nested constructor? First stream in nearly 3 weeks because I was ill with a bad case of the flu. Man, that has been hitting a lot of people hard. I don't know if you heard, since you have been sick and away, but another member of our community, Thindle, had pneumonia and bronchitis. I want to say it was bronchitis. Bronchitis with pneumonia. Bronchitis. Anyway, it was something bad. Why do you want just asking? Says, I can hear Anna saying smart, right? Totally agree. Nice. Public class, customer scope, depth, service attribute. Oh, an inherited base constructor. So where you're forwarding your constructor parameters to your base class constructor. Gotcha. Yeah, cool. He had pneumonia and bronchitis. It was two really bad things. I know one of them was pneumonia. I can't remember what the other one was, but it was just two really, really bad things. President Not Sure said, I had a sinus infection and bronchitis at the same time. I had an upper respiratory infection and bronchitis at the same time. I thought I was gonna not survive that. Yeah, no need to apologize. You're fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. I won't ask you too many more questions, but always feel free to share anything you feel like sharing, especially about the projects you've been working on, about your community, about stuff you just feel like mentioning. Very, very welcome to. I am in the middle of showing where we're at with this application. I am also stuck on a thing. Sounds like you got your thing resolved though, because you said you were stuck on a code gen thing. I love source generators. Given I was ill for a while, I don't have a lot to share, but I mean, it sounds like you did a lot today, so I'm going with that. So the application that you see on screen, I have an open source version that we work on Fridays. And this is a more specific implementation for my job. So I am doing my day job at the same time as streaming. And so this is importing data from a file that we're given from an external source, transforming it into a shape that we're expecting, and uploading it to our database. So that is awesome. Everything is working. I have some really cool transformation rules, some mapping rules. I have this kind of scroll synchronization effect where the file coming in is on the left, the data going out is on the right, and they are one-to-one. I have a way for you to mark records as skipped so you don't export them, so they don't come into the database, or I guess import. There are other things that I want to add to this, like filters, and because like maybe they want to select all records that don't have a site ID and skip them. So maybe being able to filter by site ID and then click the check all button, and it only affects your filtered records, or uncheck all. But the thing that I'm currently trying to get to happen is when you hover over a row on the left, its corresponding row on the right should also hover. And so I am currently able to forward the hover action for this row in specific to this row over here. The problem is that if for example, you can see that the current target for the first hover, where's current target? I'm so blind. Is null. Current target for the second hover. Wait, why are you null now? You're not supposed to be null. Okay, well, there's my issue. There's one of my issues. One of my many issues. Blue Blue's here. I'm still working on the trailer, but I only just got art today, so I've been super slow. No worries. Yeah, President Not Sure, I remember trying to sit up, but it felt like someone was just punching me in my chest and holding me down like that. This was like, I was maybe 6 or 7 years old. Only 2 characters left to redesign. Awesome. So I won't share this on this stream, but I will have a Music Monday stream on my other channel, on the One Line Creative channel. And on that channel, I will show, actually you can already see it on the channel itself, but I was trying really hard this weekend to make my own version of a synthwave poster kind of pinup thing. And so I changed the logo to a screen, I guess a screenshot of part of the image, and then I put a little border around it. And then the background itself is the whole, you get the sun with the gradient effect, and then the little spacer divider thingies in there, and the mountain range, and then the wireframe grid that goes to a vanishing point. But I'm stuck on the mountains. I don't know how to do the mountain part. Like, I created the mountains and I have an outline for them that I just kind of threw together, but like drawing in the wireframe to make it look like it's a 3-dimensional object. And I'm doing this in Photoshop by hand. I have a mobile studio, which is a tablet PC that I have a pen for, plus my mouse. And it's just really hard. So what I was wanting to do is, because I can't actually create the mountain, well, I'm having trouble creating the mountains, is I was going to construct a scene in either Blender or Unity, which is a bad idea to do with my free time, because then I would only be spending my time learning those things, which I do want to do eventually. I want to learn Blender and I want to learn Unity, but right now I want to do music almost exclusively. But yeah, I didn't want the AI generated art because that's a turn off to a lot of people, but I will still use AI generated art and music for learning purposes as tools. But I will, of course, never claim them as my own work product. Oh man. Okay. Geez, that is a lot of events that keep happening. Let's make sure that this does actually unsubscribe again. Clear. So when I mouse over, we should no longer see events get logged. Good. Good. But anyway, a short while ago, Dukasoft did give a shout out to Big Gamey, who is currently streaming. He's talking about Spy Hunter. He's making a Spy Hunter clone. I think it's an additional feature that he's adding to Can You Beat You? That is Spy Hunter like. Yeah, anyway, such a good game. Man, I love that game. So much fun. AI generated art is only bad when it's hurting artists, not when you train it on your own data. So that's the other thing though, Blue. I am not an artist myself. Me too, President Not Sure. One of the best games ever. Oh. The thing that makes it a little bit controversial is that I use local models that have been trained on whatever. And they've been trained on the open internet is what it's called. But again, I am not using those things and saying I'm making money off of them, nor am I using them and saying I created this in any way, shape, or form, nor am I replacing the usage of an actual artist's talents that I would be paying to make something for me. So like my actual company logo was designed by an actual designer, a human being that I know doesn't use AI generated art. Human beings are so tasty. Sometimes I even got to the boat. Oh man, it was so hard. Like, I think I've only gotten to see the. No, that's a lie. I've gotten to see the boat stage quite a few times, but I've only ever played it on NES. And here, Big Gamey is talking about it used to be on Commodore, and I'm like, how in the world could a Commodore run that? Dukasoft, 34 months. Human beings generated AI that generated AI art. You were coin op all the way. Yeah. He's currently showing a YouTube video of someone playing it on cabinet. Oh, it's so good looking. Wait, no, is that an Atari? No, it's definitely arcade. It's the sit-down arcade version. Did I hear human vegans are tasty? Night, you did not hear that. You heard human beans. Not to be confused with poop or balls or anything like that. They're a lot like kidney beans, which aren't really kidneys. Allegedly. Okay. So anyway, the functionality I'm trying to get is hover on one table, you get a hover effect on the other table. CSS should pick it up, blah, 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 blah. Since that's not happening, I need to figure out what's going on specifically. It is forwarding the events appropriately, but we're going to sketch this out in CodePen. Shout out to Ivan. I'm going to do this as often as I can. You will see spinners and loaders and applications that I use, and they will look a lot like these, because what I did is I took his CodePen and I turned it into a Blazor component so that you can say, I want loader type 01, and you'll get this displayed on your screen. I want loader type 02, etc., etc. So yeah, I just want to keep shouting him out. You don't really need to give him attribution based on all of this stuff, on the attributions and stuff, but I still want to because it's been super duper helpful. It's awesome. Great loaders. Okay, that said, let's create a new pen. This is called Table Hover Sync. Okay, we're going to have div1, table container. We're going to have a table in there. I will fill in this table in a second. And then we're going to have a table 2. And you're going to be ID table 1. We're going to need this ID in a minute. ID is table 2. Okay. T body. May as well do a T head. T head. T body. What's that look for? Why do you want? Just asking. And the reason that I want, by the way, is because I'm human. All right, let's do TD times 2. I should have did TR, my bad. Whatever. Call 1. Thinking face about not balls. Why are you thinking about that? No one caused you to think about that. That's not a good thing to think about. These are THs. Okay, this will be value 1. Call 1 val 1. Call 1 val 1. This will be call 2 val 1. we'll do you. I don't think I really needed this many, but it's what I did, okay? One. I'm sure there was a Zen coding way that I could have done this easier and had it increment the number. I just don't know it off the top of my head, and I'd have to look it up. What am I doing? 4. 5 is enough. Five is enough. Let's stop there while we have a head. What even? Oh man, I just thought of a brand new philosophy to live by. It's not even on purpose that I live by this philosophy. We'll get to that later. I'll leave you in suspense. It'll be fine. Oh, I guess that's the other thing that I want. Suspension. Okay, pass to you, and you are going to be call 1, and then for everything below here, I'm going to do corresponding call 1. You're an unexpected character. I believe there was a chat rule that says I'm not allowed to go wild. If that's right, I apologize. Yeah, I don't have my stream marked as mature audiences, which means that I do try to be a little bit more considerate and mindful of the potential of having a younger audience that is not legally of age to be able to participate in content like that. I don't know where the line is for that, so I try not to even test the line. Okay, and then we're going to have this in one big container. I don't know why I'm calling it app container, but I did. Yeah. Aw. Check out the emote that Canny made for me. Well, he made a whole bunch of badges for me. And this is a case where I used AI on this. So he crafted, I'm going to say, he used his artistic skills to create a whole bunch of subscriber badges for me. 3 of them in a row look like they could have been used to make an animation, but they were too small. They were 18 by 18 because that's how big the badges are. And so I'm like, well, I kind of want to upscale these. So I upscaled them using Stable Diffusion, and it kept the integrity of his art. They were just bigger and didn't have the artifacts that you would normally get from upscaling. So then I took the 3 that I cared about and put them in an animation, and now it does a roar. It goes roar. That's how long it's supposed to be roaring for. Anyway, they're awesome. I will add the rest of them as badges eventually. There was something that needed to happen in order for me to be able to upload them as badges even. I'm sure it has an extra tooth. I'm sure. The fidelity is what's the word I'm looking for? Maintained. Okay, display, flex. Actually, you know what? We're gonna display grid this. It's just gonna be easier. Grid template tempality, because I don't know how to type template without making it tempality. Grid template columns will be 1FR. Actually, yeah, we're gonna do 1FR times 2. Repeat to 21 times 1FR. And then we're gonna do, actually, and then we're gonna make this a width of 80 characters. Yes. Okay, good. All right. And so now my tables, table container. is going to be position relative. We're going to do some stuff with the table inside. The table is going to have a, oh gosh, I don't think I even have SAS turned on. Whoops. Nobody saw anything. It was going to crash on me. Okay. My table is going to be white space, no wrap. Bunch of other stuff. It's gonna have stuff like the synchronized scrolling, but we're not gonna worry about that now. The only thing that I care about is when you hover on a row, I want to make sure that the background color changes. That's the only thing that we currently care about trying to get to work. So T-body, TR, and hover. We'll have a background color of pink. There we go. So you can see the hover effect is there. I guess the other thing that I care about, just because I don't like seeing the I-beam currently, since we're only caring about hovering over stuff, is we're going to change the cursor to default. So it stays a pointer. Even though pointer is the finger that points at stuff, stays as the default cursor. Okay, so the effect that we're going for is hover over a row on the left and the corresponding row on the right will also get hovered. Oh. I'll fix that in a second. Okay, there's our goal. We have it listed for us. The P tag is going to be grid row 0, grid column 1, span 2. Capital span? Capital. Does it matter? Doesn't matter. Okay. There we go. And then just in case, we'll do a gap of 1 row. Sure. Good. So I still wouldn't know how to do this without JavaScript. Because there would be no way for us to traverse up a DOM tree, then over, and then down. So like the thing that I really, ultra-wide or dual monitor, which one is a good option for developers? Depends on your style. I prefer separate monitors, but you can set up an ultra-wide as, you know, having two separate spaces, two separate workspaces without a seam in the middle. So yeah. I guess the thing that you might consider, that I would recommend considering, dual or triple, is do you not want the seam in the middle? Or are you okay with the seam and have them be separate things? But me personally, my preference is separate monitors, and Gilgamesh does have a good thought also to keep in mind, is if one pixel on one part of your monitor becomes a dead pixel or something, then it'll be easier if they are separate monitors to replace just one monitor or repair one monitor instead of the whole thing and potentially ruin everything else like I did with another one of my monitors. You're most welcome. And being able to rotate, but I've never used a monitor rotated. I don't like using it for that, but there are tons and tons of people that do. So I currently have 3 display devices. One is a 40 inch TV something. Anyway, it's a TV, this monitor, which is a 4K monitor, and then this 1080 monitor. So this might even drive people mad where the form factor sizes are even different. These two are 4K, this one is 1080. You can make one bug and throw one monitor out the window and still continue to and then you would still have another monitor left. But when you throw that one, kind of out of luck. So it says, I've got one 43 inch and one 20 inch in portrait. Yeah, see? Mine are the same 24 inches. I'm terrible at physical world sizes. I went and looked up what this TV was last time. So this TV I got from someone that was leaving the area and they needed to get rid of their TV, so they just gave it to me, which was really nice of them. And then this monitor I got because I had two of this Asus monitor, the one that I stream from, or that you guys see on stream, I guess. And the backlight went out, and it seemed like an easy fix, but I couldn't fix it and ended up just taking it apart and ruining it. So then I got a 4K monitor, which is my first 4K real computer monitor ever. 43, do you use it sitting from a sofa? Like, I'm pretty sure that's what this one is. Here's what it looks like. Move, dude. So this thing on the left is the TV. And then the one in the middle is now replaced with the 4K monitor, so it's slightly bigger than that. And then the one on the right is the one that you guys see the stream on. And then the thing on bottom is the mobile studio. Oh, let me get my camera back, because I'm gonna forget that later. Not throwing any of them. I've got two 27 inches, not throwing either. I use Power Toys Fancy Zones, that's what it's called, Fancy Zones. I love Power Toys. If you don't know Power Toys, I highly recommend it, especially if you're a developer. There are Dev Toys and Power Toys. I recommend both of them. Power Toys, I guess Microsoft, because who knows what kind of stuff you'll get if you look up Power Toys on the interwebs without qualifying it. Definitely check out Power Toys, and then also check out Dev Toys, which I didn't know was a thing. I'm sure this was another thing that Nerd Herder pointed me to. But you can do stuff like Windows Shift C to get a color picker on anywhere that you want. Let's say you're like, I want to know what this color is. Then you get your color picker. You have a hex calculator. You have a JSON converter. You have a bearer token thing. What's it called? Interpreter. Yeah, lots and lots of cool stuff. Zuri says, I've got a 24 and some good monitors as well. That's a very interesting way of putting that, but it works, I guess. You have a 24-inch and some good monitors. A 24-inch what if you're not talking about it being a monitor? 24-inch blade? Coffee. Coffee, 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 coffee. That's for you to figure out. Nice. Zayt says, I sit at the same distance. I used to have 4 20-inch monitors, but this new monitor is basically the same screen space minus the bezels. Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of how it is when I sit at that screen over there. That is a 84-inch TV. And I put Visual Studio on the left-hand side of it, and then I have the 2 quadrants that are pretty much 4K monitors on the top right and bottom right that I use, and it works perfectly. And I get to sit on the couch for that. not compensating at all. Okay, so let's continue with this. Let's do the JavaScript portion of synchronizing the mouse effects. So a lot of this code was created by Copilot because I didn't know how to do this TypeScript. Speaking of, let's change you to preprocessor TypeScript. And we will just lift the code from here. Okay, number one is to take the variables that we're going to keep for adding and removing, although I don't care about removing the event handlers. So we're only going to worry about adding the event handlers. But one of the things that I needed was a way to say what the original target was to keep it from doing this infinite recursive call, essentially, that says when you hover on this one, send the hover event to this one over here. And then that one says when you hover on this one, send the hover event to that one over there. This one says, and you get it. It goes back and forth infinitely until it exceeds the stack. Okay, then we need the synchronize element scrolling, except that we won't need the get element because we'll just pass in the two elements as HTML elements. No, I'm too lazy. I mean, it's a pretty small method, so we'll go ahead and grab the get element. That way we can either pass the HTML element or the selector, which could be the ID itself. So lazy. Okay, then when this thing starts, we are going to do the synchronize element mouse events. This is synchronized scrolling. What are you doing? What I meant was this here is the method for what happens when you do the actual hover effect or mouse event effect. And in this case, really the only effects that we care about forwarding should be the mouse over and mouse out. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what all the browser uses to create the pseudo focus selector. Gilgamesh says, I limit myself to 2 to 3 to save my neck from getting cramps. 2 to 3 monitors, I take it. Not 2 to 3 feet or inches away from the screen. I sit like this. That way I don't get neck cramps. What? Okay, so here is the method for turning synchronized scroll on, and that is we need to get the reference to table 1, get the reference to table 2. For each row in table 1, create the event forwarder, essentially the event listener, to forward the event to table 2's corresponding row number, and vice versa. Okay. And then I'll talk through the actual JavaScript code. And because it's such a small table, yeah, we can do this. I was going to put it on the left, which I still think I would prefer to do. Yeah. And we'll just squish those. Okay, so this way you can see the majority of the code. I mean, it's probably really small text for you, especially those of you watching on mobile devices or in multi-screen type of window. But if you are interested in this, it will be in the open source version of this when we add it, hopefully this Friday. We'll add the table hover sync and scroll sync. Dukasoft says, since I'm new to working as a dev, do you consider what you're doing now work or something else? This is absolutely a part of work. I am trying to figure out functionality for a piece of a work product. It is quite small even on desktop. Yeah, it's a small enough table, so zooming in wouldn't be terrible. So definitely this is getting billed for. This is part of a regular work product. Doing tutorials to learn a skill to implement something that you're working on is also part of your work product. Okay, so let's grab a reference to table 1 document dot get element by ID, table 1 const table 2 document get elephant by ID, table 2. Then we're going to, for each row in table 1, we're going to add an event listener for mouse out, mouse over, and mouse move. I don't know what they are, for every row, and then tell it to forward that event to the corresponding table 2's row and vice versa. But we're just going to do one table for now so that we don't worry about the infinite loop, even though I know that that has been taken care of. And I am going to get rid of this too. Am I? I'm going to comment it out for now. It's just a console log. Duca is new to development professionally. Yes. I mean, you have been doing professional, at least website management, right? And you have added to the content. So content management, I guess, for a while now, right? But you are now doing full-on Blazor development. Okay. I am going to copy paste more code because I don't know TypeScript or JavaScript very well. It's something like table 1 dot query selector all table row. I mean, I guess t body table row dot. I don't think it used for each. I think it used map when it created it, but I really don't know the difference between for each and map. I really don't. Yeah, management for 2 years, not full on dev yet, sadly. Damn WordPress. Let's see. Let's remove. Here it is. Yeah, source rows for each. They are using for each. I know how to use for each. Oops, except I don't know how to spell for each. I yellowed into the dev job. I mean, you know, like I still feel like that's what I did, kind of. I worked human resources starting in about 2004, and I was 4 years into college, which was actually more like 1 year into college because that's when I started doing the work. And I was doing classification clerk duties. And then I went into, I graduated from university, moved to the full-time instead of student job, human resources specialist, information systems, but they had me doing staffing and classification still, which is reading and rating resumes as well as describing jobs. But I was trying to automate everything. I used VBA for everything. I worked a 3-month temporary position with the actual Java developer team. ASP Classic developer team that managed the main classification site for our position descriptions. And then that was my first foray into working on a team of developers. But then I went back to my regular job. I was still able to do software development using Visual Studio on that application, but it was on my own. And so from then on, I was on my own. Um, then around 2014, I was like, I really, really want to be a developer. Why am I still working human resources? Why am I still reading and rating resumes? Why am I running reports to tell you who to hire and fire? I really, really hated I needed to be the one. I'm still affected by this, man. It's something I need to clear. I wrote the logic for interpreting the guidance on how to use longevity and position importance to make a list, a priority list of who do we keep and who gets riffed, who gets reduction enforced. And a lot of people got riffed in 1 year. And I'm like, I really hope that the code that I wrote that spat out this list was accurate, because that is life-changing for a lot of people. Losing your job, it's not a good thing. So I felt really, really stressed. And it was around that time that I'm like, I need to be in a developer role working on software development. So I got another job in human resources department as an information systems specialist, thinking that I was going to do software development at the VA in Washington State. And that was even worse. And I made a lot of mistakes there. And I was like, I need out of this situation. So ultimately, I connected with someone that I worked with from that time in around 2009, and this is 2014. And I'm like, do you happen to know any software development jobs that are currently open? And he's like, yeah, do you remember so-and-so? He's got a friend that has a consulting company that has a contract out in Colorado. So I talked to him, and he's like, yeah, sure, you can be a dev on our team. We have 4 devs. And then that story, long story short, I moved here to Colorado to work on the RMA apps as a solo developer with, I guess, a junior developer that used to be help desk that never did programming. And yeah. Worked on these applications. Oh. Okay. Anyway, that's my long story. Time to keep moving. Dukesoft said, we currently have 4 WordPress sites, I hate them, and 1 old ASP site. The ASP site is the one I'm redoing right now. If that's successful, then I can move on to the next. Yes, that's how I felt about these applications. They were JSP. I turned them into MVC applications, and then Blazor came out, and I'm like, these should be Blazor apps, and I was able to turn the majority of them into Blazor apps one by one, and it's been so much fun. All right. So for each, we're going to get the source row and the index, and we're going to do this for each one. I don't exactly know how it gets source rows. Maybe it does this. Table 1 query selector all. And I'm going to call these table 1 rows instead. Table 1 rows and table 2 rows. And we'll do table 1 rows, table 1 row. Then we're going to get const table 2 row, which is going to be the corresponding row, is going to be table 2 rows at index. Because again, they should be 1 for 1 in our application. They will always be 1 to 1. Then I need to set up the mouse event thing. So for table 1 row, we're going to add an event listener. Oh, I hope I'm doing this right. We're going to verify this, but again, I think I've said this before. I really love testing my memory and also my own logic. Like, I'm not very confident in TypeScript or in JavaScript by itself. But if I can continue practicing it, I'll get better at it, and maybe it'll be correct. I hope it'll be correct. So we're adding an event listener for, let's do mouse over for now. And that event listener is going to be, I'm making it an anonymous event handler, but the thing that the code actually does do, because I need to remove the event listener when I hide the preview table, is it keeps track of it in that, that map that you saw earlier, which is essentially a dictionary of HTML element, comma, event listener, so that it can remove the event listener for that specific one, since they are anonymous and not just the call to the method handle. And the reason is because this takes more than just the mouse event. It takes the 2 elements that should be scroll synced, or I keep saying scroll synced because that was the first one that I was working on. This is the hover sync. So we will handle and we'll forward the mouse event, and we'll do table 1 row, table 2 row. Okay. So I am curious to know if this is correct so far without looking at the original. And we should be able to see the console. I mean the console somewhere. And yes, there it is. I did it. I did it from memory. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's good. The thing that I don't remember is whether there actually was a mouse move event that got caught. But there we go. We're good. We're good. And you can see the mouse over and mouse out. So for now, let me just duplicate that on table 2. Which means just swapping these 2. So that when I do it on table 2, table 1 will also get called. But here's where the potential for an infinite loop could happen. I hover over table 1's row, that fires the event on table 2's corresponding row, which then fires the event on table 1's row. And if I don't do something to stop it from bouncing back and forth, then it'll happen indefinitely and then eventually grow beyond the size of the stack. And then it says not enough space on the call stack, or you've exceeded the call stack. But it's not continuing. It just did it the once. Good. So the way that I did that is I extended the mouse event, and in TypeScript you can do that simply by saying, here's my class or interface, and it extends this existing thing, and it adds an object, and that, or a property, sorry, it adds a property, and in my case that property is called custom detail, and it has another property of event target, which should have a type. I don't know why I don't have a type on that. Maybe that's one of the issues that I'm having. But the type could be, oh, that's why. The type was either going to be, do I have to do it as? Is this how I do this? As it was either going to be an event target or a HTML element, I think. Yeah, but I don't remember how to do that. But I wanted to strongly type the original target. So the way that I'm getting that though is I'm checking to see if the event that comes in has a property called custom detail. If it does, then store the original target. If the original element that was raising all of this stuff is equal to the current target, then do nothing, because that means that we've fired the event once to the corresponding row, and that one is firing the event back, and we are the original, so we need to stop it from going again. That's my recursive loop exit point. Then there's we set up the cloned event so that now we are using an extended mouse event. Up here, it's just a regular mouse event, so this will be undefined and this will be null. Therefore, original element will never equal event.currentTarget. So then we create our cloned event as an extended mouse event, and then we set the custom detail property of that extended mouse event to be if the original target on the event was null, then the current target. Otherwise, the original target. Aha, and that's what the issue is. Because I think in this case, the current target is an object type of event target, if I recall correctly, and that might be why, but no, I mean, it's it's still doing the comparison correctly here. Okay, moving on. And then we will dispatch the event to the other one. If the current target is element 1, then we will dispatch the event to element 2. Otherwise, we'll dispatch it to element 1. Fine, fine. So this should work. As far as forwarding the event back and forth. What can we do to make the other element? What can we do to prove that the other element is getting the event? We could add a class to it, maybe. So when we get here, we could do something like if event.type is mouse over and we do it after our I kind of want to do it down here. Can we do event.currentTarget.class list how do I do that? Types, oh, I would just do JavaScript. JavaScript, check if class exists. Element class list contains. I was getting there. This is what I was intuitively doing, or maybe by memory. Contains hovered. Oh, I guess it's just the text itself, not the selector. Oh, and not event current target class list contains hovered. Then event current target class list add. Else, oops. I'll learn how to format. Like, JavaScript is essentially the formatting that I used to use all the time. And I think it was from Java, but Java still used 4 space tabs, and I really liked the same line curly braces 2 space tabs. I still do like it, but I know the preference is curly braces on new lines and 4 space tabs. And some people prefer tabs over spaces, so I go as far as 4 space tabs without putting in the tab character. Just because there's a lot of stuff that I find myself needing to do that aren't necessarily at the 4 space tab. Mark, moving on. Else if event type is mouse out and event dot current target class list contains hovered. And this isn't how I would write this, by the way. I would definitely capture the current target in its own variable, as well as whether or not it contains hovered. But since this is just a little whatever this is called, code pen that we're testing on, okay, so let's get the, oh man, DevTools window. And now that we have a console here, we won't need this one. Good. But what I do want to see is the DOM. What is going on with you, DOM? Oh, right. I really need to leave you on auto for a bit. There we go. Okay, so let's pick this row here. So we are getting the class on that one, but are we getting the class in the associated row? We are. This code is doing what we want. This code is doing what we want as far as firing the event. So maybe I want, that's going to be hard. I want to do this on the current target before we assign it to the forwarded target. Okay. Yes. It's doing exactly what it should be doing. It's doing exactly what we're expecting it to do. But apparently this isn't enough to get the actual hover pseudo selector. I didn't even see what the clip was. I mean, I may have forgotten something. For science. Okay. So it's definitely doing this. And my initial approach, if you recall previously, was to use C# on mouse over, on mouse out, blah, 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 to toggle the hover. I could, but I can neither confirm nor deny still. And mouse out was one, or sorry, mouse move. Annie. Rawr. Okay. I'll stop paying attention to Big Amy, but he's such a good streamer. So when you hover over a row, so for example, this row, what I was doing is in C#, I had a C# handler for on mouse over and on mouse out for TR. But the problem is twofold. One, on mouse over and on mouse out both fire when you hover over a row, because the elements that are here, it's really, really hard to tell though. Okay, so you can't see it here because this is all JavaScript. Mouse over and mouse move only happened, and then when I finally moved the mouse out, that's when mouse out happened. Maybe. It's so hard to tell. Goodness. Somebody give me proof. I will move my mouse very gently. Okay. The only thing that we see in here is mouse over and mouse move. There are no mouse out events. I'm still mouse over, and now I am mouse out. So when I finally leave the row itself, that's when one mouse out event happens. When I had this hooked up to a C# handler, the mouse over, mouse move, and mouse out fired. And the reason is because it moused over TD as well, which is no longer moused over TR. It's moused over one cell in that row, which also mouses out of that row to mouse over the TD. Same thing if I had a span or a div inside, I would always do mouse over, mouse out. So at least those two would happen consecutively when I use the C# handler. The other thing that happened is when I added a class using C#, it re-rendered the entire table just to put that one class. So you can see that happen here actually. If I choose to select or deselect a row, even though it's only one row, it still re-renders, and I guess you can't really see it happening, but it still re-renders the whole table instead of just that one element that needs to have the class added or removed. And so you can see where that could be a UI performance issue when it's doing that for two tables, each with 230 element or rows with 30 something columns. So it's just bad news. Bad news bears to try to use the C# handler. That meant that I was kind of afraid to use JavaScript to add and remove the class. But what if what if we went ahead and added this logic to manually add the hover class? And I believe I have a CSS rule already for is hovered. So not just the :hover, force hover style is what I called it. So what we're going to try is this logic that I put here for toggling the class. Yeah, we're going to try it. Excuse me. I'm holding control down. TypeScript. Synchronize mouse move. Handle and clone mouse event. If the event is mouse over and the current target, which again, it's thinking that it's either going to be an event target or a HTML target. And there is no class list on event target. And actually it's saying by this point it is an event target, no matter what. I'm going to cheat for now. Don't do this at home. And I'm going to cast it to an HTML element. I think it's possible to cast an event target to a HTML element, so that should be fine. So everywhere that I have event current target, I'm replacing with current target. And we're going to toggle the force hover style class. Can you take me to it? Thanks. Oh, Visual Studio is doing the thing where it's lagging every time that I copy something. I was trying to figure out what was going on. Okay, so what we should see happening once we get the updated code, hopefully the JavaScript also updated. All right, we're going to use the first row because it'll probably be easier to see. Oh man, it does get slower and slower while it stays open without being refreshed, which is not a good experience. But we will fix all of the performance issues. We'll fix everything. Okay, so we're paying attention to this row here and this row here, one at a time, of course. So let's start with this one. So we did get the hover, and it keeps updating it even though I told it if it were, oh. No, it is looking for the correct one. Shout out to Emporium Guy, who is still learning Blazor and enjoying his time, I hope. All right, I'm gonna get rid of the console logs just in case that was causing any extra latency. But we will look at both. Maybe I need to stop and restart the app just so that it has its abilities again. And thank you so much for the follow. I won't shout out your name unless you decide to chat, because I would like to give you the opportunity to just follow and lurk if you feel like it. But I also want to recognize you because I really, really appreciate the follow. What class am I adding? Is it just hover? Wait, did I cut it and not just copy it? Oops. Come on. Oh, and hovered. I know how to do sass. Okay, so this is definitely the effect that I want. And look at how responsive, look at how fast. Great for a straight HTML and CSS and JavaScript. Is that going to be our performance here? We know that it works. We know it's doing what we want it to do. However, will it blend? Lag. Gosh. Are you at least updating this row's hovered? Yes. Okay, so we are getting the force hover style on the TR in the corresponding table row. The style here is in the core library. Yes. And it is telling it to change the hover background of the row. Yes. Hover and force hover style for TR. Yeah, you can see it. It's updating. And it doesn't matter which table, it is updating. What if I got rid of the mouse move? I'm kind of not liking this mouse move. Like, it really shouldn't fire more than once. Because event type will be mouse over and the class list will contain force hover style at some point. Our current target. And we are not removing because we are not getting a mouse out. Let's see. Can I prove that to myself? I would like to know if the styles are getting applied. That's what's happening. Even though it has the class force hover style, it is not getting applied. So let's manually add that class real quick. Force hover style. Yeah, we should see the force hover style rule. We are not. Okay, all right, that's something else. That's fine. We've got this. Because it's also selected. Aha. I remember this. If we are selected, then the background is going to be the selected background. However, that is getting overwritten in my implementation, in my usage of this library here. Hello, Blazer, Mr. Magoo. Comment allez-vous? Good evening. Is this hover just for visual styling, or are you going to react to the hover encode? Just for visual styling so that the... I can actually illustrate it now. In this application, the table on the left is imported data that was read from a CSV or an Excel file. The data on the right is from the user mapping fields from the incoming data to the format that we're expecting that we're going to dump to the database. The rows are 1-to-1. Oh dear, I froze it. The rows are 1-to-1, so a row on the left table will correspond to a row on the right table. So we have two things set up. We have a scrolling sync. So when you scroll in the table on the left, the table on the right will also scroll to the same position. And then when you scroll on the table to the right, the table on the left will also scroll as expected. And the thing that I'm trying to get to work, the second thing, is when you hover over a row on the left, the corresponding row on the table on the right also hovers, or also gives it the hover effect. I was hoping that all I would have to do is forward the mouse event to that row, but that didn't work the way that I was expecting it to. So like a mouse move on the row on the left would cause a mouse move on the row on the right, and it would get the hover effect. But I don't think, or not hover effect, the hover pseudo selector, you know what I mean, :hover. But that wasn't happening. So now I am back to manually adding a class to the, adding and removing a class to the element. So something else that I want to do then is remove the mouse move. Make sure that all of the JavaScript is refreshed. Right. Oh, I do want to use the full table because I need this to work with the full set of data. I do have a truncated version, a shortened version of the data so that it loads faster, but here we're actually testing the UI functionality. So we get the regular hover effect. Oh, right, and I remembered what it was, and I need to update the styles. But we should see it undone here. We should see it apply and then overwritten in a later style. So if I do force hover style, which I think was the name of it, right? Force hover style, and then in table mixins, force hover style. Yeah, so we should at minimum see this rule apply. Oh, dang it. Okay, we should at minimum see this rule apply somewhere. Here. And then it's getting overwritten by the selected rule, which is then getting overwritten by isolated CSS for article, which is getting overwritten by another isolated CSS for article tr selected, which is getting overwritten. And these are the isolated CSS for this particular page. And then that's getting overwritten by my table striped. Great. CSS is fun. So we should be able to go into the isolated, and I did say that that most recent one is isolated CSS as well, correct? Yeah. And I know it's isolated CSS because it's targeting the element using this Blazor attribute ID essentially. And so that tells me there is a page that is using : deep or is just targeting these HTML elements directly. And so this is specifically my data file import page. Which is up here. Data import page is what I said. Okay, so here's my data import page. Here's article. Here's : deep. We know that this is the place that the table styles are getting overwritten. Selected and hover, comma, and force hover style. So this is one place that we might be able to get it back. Reload. CSS autosync. There it goes. Oh, unknown payload. Just kidding. Oh, there it goes. That might have. Yes. That looks like it's hovered. That looks like it's hovered. And if I remove this style, it's no longer hovered, which means, yes. Oh, and it's so responsive. It still gives me that double effect, but do you think that this is too much latency? That it would just be annoying to hover over a row? Because it was really, really bad. Like, you would have the mouse here and it would still be doing not the animation, but the different row select hovers. This is like super duper quick compared to that. So I don't know, I'm calling that a win. We're gonna keep that. I still really don't like, one, that it's JavaScript. Two, that the forwarding the mouse events was not working the way that I thought it would, which is to give us the hover pseudo selector. It's like, I want it to be this smooth. Like, this is super quick. It's not the worst. It's not nearly as bad as it was. So I'm going to accept that and we will move on from there. Let me get rid of some comments and some console logs before committing. Oh, do we even need these anymore? Oh wait, yeah, the table row hovers we do need. I need to stop cutting it to clipboard because that's what's causing a lot of this lag. It's just easier to do a whole row at a time. Wait, how are you able to add? You. We can do an anonymous object in here? I guess. We can do an anonymous object in there. Fine, fine. I'm okay with that. Okay, I will stop the app so that we can get a fresh run. Okay, I'm going to delete storage so we can start from scratch and see how we go. All right, I'm happy with that. Cool. That means once I commit this, our next effort will be in creating a conditional mapping rule, which mapping rule and value transformation operation, which is the thing that allows the user to say if a value is this, or if a field matches this pattern, then follow this branch of value transformations. Yeah, please feel free, Sans. And hello, welcome in. Happy Monday to you. You've probably been lurking this whole time, but also hello. No, my styles. No, my styles. That's not a good first run experience. Great. So it didn't load the CSS. All right. Yeah, where's my CSS? Dagnabbit. Goodness. Load. Thank you. All right. So here's my hover styles. And this one doesn't have anything to do with adding that hover class anywhere. If you look at this tiara, do you like my tiara? Whoa, where did my, there you are. Okay, if you look at this TR, it will not get the force hover style because that will only ever happen. Yeah, it still has some lag too when I'm doing this. That will only happen when the preview is also open. Fibbity gibbet! What are you fibbity gibbeting about? But now, yes, good. Yeah, here's a point to using JavaScript for all of this stuff. Oh, dagnabbit. Fibbity gibbet. All right, so here's the background context of Zonz's thing. I'm building a platform for churches. One of the core features is the giving, where people will connect their accounts and it will be paid out to the church. I'm managing the system with Stripe. When a user submits a one-time payment or a recurring one, which is being managed with Jobs, do you think I should maintain my own table system of truth or just move it to the church's Stripe account and just query their API? I would rely on Stripe to be your source of truth, because that is the thing that will tell you whether the payment was successful or not. The alternative, another alternative. Yeah, President Not Sure agrees with that. In my opinion, use the payment gateway as the source of truth. Another alternative is if you have access to the church's payout account, then you could reconcile it. So use Stripe as your source of truth, reconcile it with the bank account or financial institution, or however you are managing the funds for the church, where they end up going. The argument for Stripe is that they are more reliable. However, we do not need to eventually build features such as categories, funds, and fundraisers. We do need to eventually do that. And that might benefit us from maintaining the source. Well, again, so source of truth should be Stripe. Everything else is your word that I just used. Verification that it was successful. Oh my gosh, what was the financial term that I just used and why is it gone? Reconciliation. So, and I throw a wrench in it too. What if, for example, we need to support PayPal later as a payment gateway? Yeah, so regardless, it is like the thing that you are tracking in your database is payment amount source. So here is a payment on this date at this time for this amount using PayPal, using Stripe, using Amazon, using Google Pay, using whatever payment system you have. But that payment system that ends up being used is the source of truth for whether or not the payment happened. Your database, your financial accounts, those are all reconciliation accounts. There are ways for you to say, yes, I agree with this payment having been made or not been made. So yeah, as far as the database, it's just telling you where the source was, but that source is the source of truth. I mean, I would, but I would not keep them as a source of truth. I would keep them to know where did this payment come from. A payment was made on this date and they used PayPal. Yeah. What Dukasoft is putting. President Not Sure said, you can build an abstraction around your payment gateway use. Yeah, definitely that, for sure. I like that. Although the different payment gateways have different shape to their APIs, so it's a bit challenging to write an abstraction for them. I mean, you could still write that abstraction layer for payment service information or whatever you want to call it. Have that be your DTO that you transform all of them to, and have a method for get payment history. Here's my input. You implement it in a way that the API gateway understands and then gives you back whatever shape it gives you, but then you return back to your application a consistent shape of data. Yeah, President Not Sure is like that. I know you wanted to type all that, but it's harder to type than it is to say it out loud. The abstraction would be best with general operations like make payment, not individual steps correspond one-to-one with the payment gateway. Yeah. See, he wanted to keep typing all of it. He would have given you an entire blog for it too. But yeah, I still stand by the question about what your source of truth is. It's going to be the payment system itself. Stripe, PayPal, Amazon, Google. What's that other one? Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, all of them. You thought we would say the opposite. Yeah. And then for me, like, just because I love information, I would have a table that says this payment action happened. Then I would use that table to look up the actual details and see if it actually occurred according to the source of truth. So it's almost an ERP system with a master record, master data. In this case, your master data management. In this case, your master data is actually distributed among your payment systems. You could download all of those payment system data to one central database if you wanted to, but I still would always go to that service. But essentially, if you wanted to, always query it use your query from that service to update your records, but that's your source of truth. This is your local thing. I mean, so you are correct, Zons. That is what I'm saying. So Zon said, I came in here thinking you'd say to maintain my own tables and just reconcile with Gateway. Yes, and. So, query the payment API to get your transactions list. Update yours, because again, that is your source of truth. It's just it's coming from different payment systems. Update your database tables, and then you can reconcile against those. Yeah, not a big fan. And again, that's where all of your references would just be, I'm only referencing this table. That table or that database is only getting updated from source of truth. It's just I want a local, easy to access copy of it. And the only reconciliations that would need to happen is data later than, or not reconciliations, any changes to this database would be any new data later than the most recent updated date. But this table would not be ever manually updated. Absolutely. President Usher is saying, I'm not a big fan of having multiple copies of the same data. Synchronization is always a problem. I agree with you. Also, you get people asking, why is it saying I made a payment? Or why is it saying I didn't make a payment? And you have your own copy of the data. You first have to figure out whether the problem is in your data or the payment gateway data. Yeah, and that's why it's like, always have something that pulls from source of truth. I'm saying source of truth will always be the payment system as distributed as it is, and then dump that to your own table. If you wanted to even keep track of it yourself. It makes sense to, that way you're not always asking, give me the full history of data from payment system. If you're constantly querying for large date ranges. Oh, I'm happy with this though. Let's commit. That was a Friday question. But I was in between thoughts, so I had time to think about it and give you a good response. But even if I didn't, President Not Sure and Dukasoft gave really, really good feedback, and you didn't even need mine. Mine was just interpreting what they were saying. Rehashing what they said. Yeba. Okay, did I do this? Improved hover styling, hover style handling, and simplify event logic. Yes, that is what I did. All right. Yes. Moving on. Why is there an extra space here? Why is there an extra? Oh, that's not an extra space. How dare. It's in one of these. Squish. 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 That's beautiful. All right, what is going on? Did I get mail from work that I wasn't paying attention to? That was a good session. I really, really, really liked it, that session. Yes, I did get email from work. Hold on. pause everything and answer work. There is another application that we need to shift our focus to before getting started on our next work item, as it usually goes. Jeepers. Why are you all marked as red? Ooh, almost there. Almost there. As a reminder, after today's stream, in about 2 hours, I will be shifting over to the music stream on another channel in case you are interested in going on a creative stream. I know a lot of you just look for developer streamers. I only ever look for developer streamers. So I will not be offended if you choose not to watch that stream. I plan on learning more about Vital today. And I'm going to do a deep dive into all of the knobs and the changes that each thing does to each type of waveform. Because I eventually want to create my own synths for writing my own synth music. And it's going to be so much fun. Okay. Issue. We're adding a new dewatering well and a new recharge well to the northwest boundary system. We need these to be added in water management. The dewatering well will be 22 and the recharge will be 26. These will also get uploaded in the upload treatment data screen. The new tags will be this and this. We plan on these wells coming online the last week of February. Thank you for telling me early enough. That's nice. Can you add these to water management? Cool. Git commit. Day's work, extra spaces removed. Yeah, I just like to put A. Is there anything else that I didn't notice that should have gotten removed? Infinite loop. So the cool thing about using the MS Build TypeScript workload tool thing is that one of the options that you can set is remove comments. So these comments for developers by developers won't make it into the output JavaScript file. Even if the output JavaScript file was minified, still has the potential to have the comments in there. Oh, tasty. This water is so good. Drink water. I'm telling you guys. If you haven't drank water today, drink water. If you aren't someone who usually drinks water, drink water today. Just do it. Just do it. Don't think about it. Just do it. Have a glass of water. Have a bottle of water. Okay, close all tabs. Yeah, we're going to start from scratch when we do this. I will push this. Aww. Thanks. I just use it. It needs. Why isn't it the first? Flippin'. Just used it on Big Gamey stream. I don't know if you noticed, Dukasoft, but I did change the logo and the backsplash screen. I need help with the banner. Yeah, we'll talk about it on that stream. I'm just really excited to work on that stuff. So much fun. Where are we? We are trying to go to water management. So let's find water management. Want the Blazor version. And the reason that we want this is because I wanted to look at the treatment plant upload functionality to see the logic for how it gets. There are these things called tags that the oh gosh, what are they called? You guys always tell me what it is, but the little physical devices that are put on water meters and they do control type of stuff, they're called something. The little microprocessor controller for valves and pipes. Programmable controllers. They're PC PIDs. PIDs? Thingies. Thank you. Man, technical terms. Thank you. You demystified it for us. PDVs. Yeah, and I think you're the one that always tells me what they're called. Except it just toggles relays so you can attach lots of stuff to them. But yeah, just those types of things. So we have a bunch of those, and they report to a central system, the water flow, and that central system uses a different name for where it's located that are called tags. And those tags are different than the actual well numbers that we see in an application like RMA Water. And there is no real way to see the association between a well number. So in this case, we're doing northwest boundary, which is probably a well somewhere in here. And they're adding new ones up here. So there is no way to see what the tag is for this well in particular. And why doesn't this button work? I'm okay. I'm okay. Does this button work? Nope, that one doesn't work either. It's so weird. This one works, but this one doesn't. And this one is an ArcGIS Esri widget, Esri ArcGIS widget, specifically, like a JavaScript. I said that this thing is going to be the place where you have the well, or the, what is this called? Object info. Zoom works. So we know that it's definitely sending a message out. Why doesn't this work? Enhance. 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 Okay. Anyway, so they have a different way of naming those things. Don't push your own buttons. You only get frustrated. Well, you know what I always say. If life doesn't give you lemons, get your own. This is what happens with frustration types. We really like our lemons. All right. So we're parsing the file. Where is the thing where we are populating the tag names? You. And we need the server-side service for this because this has a database lookup, and we look in a table called tag index, right? Float table data item. Float table, maybe. Okay, we get our DB context, we get our populate tag names. And we are using, where's my database lookup? Tag table. We're using tag table. Tag table back again. Let's begin. Makes noise. This is treatment plants. What? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This table. Okay, so here is the crosswalk between the tag name and the well number. Okay, so that said, the dewatering well will be 22 and the recharge well will be 26, but we need the well numbers in order for this to work. So what they gave us is the tag name, and then which one is which. One is a recharge well, one is a dewatering well, which they kind of got backwards. The dewatering well would be 22. Oh, never mind. I'm dyslexic. It's okay. Dewatering well will be 22. Recharge will be 26. So yes, I need the well numbers and their index. Yeah. Tag table. Tag table. This requires, what is tag type and tag data type? What even? Do you see any lookups that have anything to do with tag type? What even? Oh. Who data? Is there anything that's using this new tag, new tags with labels? Because that would suck. No. Okay, good. Just to make sure that we actually were searching. Okay, so yes, it's definitely the tag table, has nothing to do with the new tags with whatever that thing said. But I really don't know what this tag type and tag data type are. Do we even use them? No, they're not used. Okay, so this requires the tag name, which would be everything after the first slash. The tag index, I don't think we use the tag index anymore. Wait. Oh, because this is northwest boundary. It's northwest boundary. So it would most likely be one that gets inserted here, and a dewatering that gets inserted here. That's weird. And the well number report label. Or NWBCS. He did say northwest, right? Not north boundary. For NWBCS, the dewatering and recharge wells are typically the well number. I am assuming, following the pattern, that the well numbers will be NWBCS BW22 would be 22322, and NWBCS RC26 for our recharge well will be 22426. I need to do further investigation on whether or not anything needs to happen in the RMA water database as well. Okay, taken care of. So we did receive that message. We responded to it. And I need to check RMA water to see if it uses the TBL TP. What? Where are you uploading to? Oh, come on. Just let me go back. That's tag table still. Populate tag names. Populate tag names. Where's the actual upload? Upload flow data. That goes into float table. PP plant flows. Wells. Brief data. Flow item. Lookup well. Yeah, TBL TP plant flows. So my assumption is that this is ultimately getting dumped into TBL TP plant flows, as well as the flow item. Wait, flow item? No, just TBL TP plant flows. Yeah. So let's head on over to RMA water, because the other place that this data is used is another application that I showed on screen called RMA water. And that one is the one that generates other reports. So there are some reports generated by water management. And then there are other reports that are generated by RMA water to include plant flows. So who uses TBL TP plant flows? No, not you. V plant flows. Great. So then there's also a view on top of it. Report service, a flow rate report, yes. So for that flow rate report, I guess the thing that we really care about is, do you have a drop down where we select one of the report labels? Chart selector. Which we don't get to because isValid is not used. Where else? The flow rate report data. Thank you so much for the follow. Wait, for the raid! Emporium guy! Thank you so very much! How are you doing? What was your stream up to today? Very, very much appreciated. We're having an enjoyable time responding to a customer request to prepare for something that is happening at the end of next month, which is awesome because that gives us plenty of time to research what we need to do with it. Yeah, so I just got a message from the lead and he's already thinking on this part. We should also make sure the new wells are on the drop-down list. So I need to figure out where this drop-down list gets its records from. But yeah, while we're waiting, what is going on, Emporium guy? How are you? Are you stuck behind an ad? I hope not. Okay, so that's our flow rate, charts and reports. Where is the actual, yeah, it's gotta be this. This is the report itself, but where is the configuration for this report? Chart selector, help us out. It should be here. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh goodness. Well poop. Welding. Flow rate. Okay, so here is our lookup. We got one for system, we got one for flow type, and we got one for well number. I need to know where these come from. So system wouldn't need to be updated. I'm gonna assume that system is NBCS, NWBCS, any of the actual well systems. Yeah. So for example, we would choose northwest boundary. Flow type would be an extraction well, and then we would have, or not extraction well, a recharge well. Wait, extraction is the same as dewatering. So yes, in here we would have well number 22, and then a recharge well of 26. Yes, exactly. Thindle. Hello, Thindle. Happy Monday to you. We are in the midst of responding to a customer inquiry for a change that needs to happen to some of the data. I need to know where this flow type and no, just well. I need to know where the well number is coming from. Here it is. Report options, well number items with the mapper. And that's going to come up from our lookup flow type well numbers, which means that there is a table in the database. What did I say that sounded like that word? Unless you were just actually asking something. RMA water. Look up flow type well numbers. You there? View data. Yeah, this is going to be great to figure out because they're all obviously relational tables. And so I need to know which report. So I need all of these. Man, it's so hard to do this in Visual Studio too. Did I create a view for this? No, I didn't. Okay, let's put together a query. Our query is going to be join. So select, I'll select specific things here in a second, but first we're going to pick our tables the same way that we pick our noses from lookup system reports, loser, inner join, yeah, this is really, really hard for me to do in Visual Studio. Okay, so our lookup flow types will have a system report ID. Lookup flow types, Luft. Close, not quite. On system, no, there's supposed to be a system report ID and look, oh, ID? System report ID. Oh my goodness, DVD Gamer, thank you so much. Luft, that means air. Awesome. And your pronunciation was pretty close. Hello, I was both lurking and joined with the raid before. Yeah, totally cool. I completely understand, especially if you've got other things to do already. Inner, join, look up, flow type, well numbers, Luftwin on Luft ID equals Luftwin flow type ID, where the loser dot ID is our flow type report, which is going to be really, really hard to find because we have lookup report type, which is 8, but our lookup system reports is for a specific system. So we need a lookup system for northwest boundary 6, and we need a record in our lookup system reports with a system of 6 and a report type of 8. It'd be nice if I had a view. So system ID 6, report type 8 here, which is system report ID 28. Yay for relational data. All right, let's see what this gives us. Northwest boundary. We're going to get the adsorbers, etc., etc. What was I needing to get from here? I'm going to get back on the opiates tonight. See if it helps. I hope it does. Oh, there was conversation stuff. CBD says to Thindle, hope you're better. Thindle says, thanks, setback unfortunately, but I'm going to go back on the opiates tonight, see if it helps. I hope you're very careful and not getting addicted to them. May good health be attained soon. Same to you, TBD. Yeah, I'm still sending love and positive energy to your knee situation. I really think it's something that could get better. But I also think it's something that doctors could help as well. Now the cough medicine is pretty light on the opiate, even if there is one in there. I do have harder things in pill form for other things. Okay, what did I need to do this query for? I needed to do this query to see... What did I need to do this query for? To see our drop-down values. Yeah, let's do that. For this drop-down, we've picked northwest boundary. Let's also pick flow type recharge well. And we should be able to find out what that is from the second one here. So the ID of 12. And Luft. Dot. I all capitalized it. ID is 12. Okay, so that should only give us recharge wells. This list here. Oh, order by display order. Oops. Display order? Excuse me, what was it called? Display order. Oh, duh. Order by Luftwin. That display order. Okay. Invalid. Oh, now I have an underscore still. Okay. This list of names, this list of names should be the list of names that appears in this drop-down list, right? 1 through 24, 25, 1 through 25. Good. So this is definitely the table that we would need to add it to, which is the lookup flow type well numbers. And the only thing that we would need to do is add a row with a flow type ID of 12 and a name of 26 and a display order of 26 as well. RFL well 22 and what's the other one? Extraction well, which I think is DFL. Let's get rid of this again and this. What is our extraction well? DFL. So 11. 11. DFL 22. Value flow type well numbers. Maintenance tab would come into play if that functionality was working. Okay, so another thing, man, sorry, I'm writing an email back to work because again, I'm at work, so I will pay attention to them first. I have functionality here to be able to maintain the list of wells. And why did you go to absorbers? I could have sworn for wells and yeah, wells in the system, in the particular system that they select from here, but this isn't complete. I haven't had time to finish that, but it's there. It would be awesome if it worked because they could just go in and say, yeah, we want to add well number blah as of this date, effective this date, so that it starts showing up on reports when they start querying for them. And the extraction well chemical chart addition should work using the well maintenance tab. Try that in test. Okay, so we're going to try that in test, which is this tab they also needed to add to the extraction well maintenance tab for northwest boundary, well number 22322. So we're going to try that now in the test database. Actually, I want him to test it because I want him to Let's see if it'll work. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that for them. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that for them. I'm pretty confident that it will work. Oh man. Did you see my confidence just leave the second that the last word left my mouth? Okay, so we're done with that. We know that these are just database changes. There isn't anything that needs to happen in the application. So when they are ready, we will, not when they are ready, we will actually do that in test for the lookup flow types and see if it works on test Waterman. Where is my Waterman notes? Projects. Water management, aka treatment plant. No, there should be one called water management. Water management. There you are. So blind. Of course, you guys can't see it because I'm on a different screen. No, Windows. Last time. Oh, wow. So, do you guys remember on Friday, I told you that I installed a Windows update and I couldn't figure out what the Windows update was that was trying to get installed, and we looked and we didn't actually find anything, but we assumed that it was Windows 11 22 22H2 23H2, I think, because that was the one that said it was installed on whatever Friday was. Here's why. Updates available. I just got the notification. It failed to update to Windows 11 24H2. And it was trying to update to Windows 11 24H2 on Friday, most likely. Okay, fun times. Fun. Here's an idea. Just leave it alone. Burn it all down. That's exactly what I'm saying. Oh geez, I'm sorry. I totally missed YouTube chat. Is Restream not working? If you're still there, GeoHG, what do you think about front-end engineering in the next few years? I think it's going to still be one of those situations where things are going to move to a I wanted to come up with a cool word, but I couldn't think of the word. Multidisciplinary developer. Companies are wanting developers to be multidisciplinary. There are very few that are wanting specialists. I would want specialists on my team, people that are very specialized in one field or another. But man, sorry about that. Restream chat does not seem to be connected currently. So anyway, if you come back and watch the video, then I've responded to you. Sorry for not responding earlier. Feels bad, man. What's wrong with you, Restream? Burn it out. That message is gonna forever be there. I know a person for dealing with Restream chat. Do you? What's their name? It was working though, wasn't it? It is working. I didn't have this window open. Well, that's weird. So it definitely chatted from Twitch to... Oh, there it goes. It's working. It's working. Gosh. Totally missed a question probably an hour ago. Feels bad, man. I don't like missing people's questions. Where were we? We are in RMA water because we're looking at what it would take to get this thing to give us the right information. But we found out it's all database driven. I need to do the inserts and such. So I will open SQL Server Management Studio. That has a version update every 2 minutes, just like Notepad++. And the thing that I really don't like about SQL Server Management Studio updates is they aren't in-place updates. They are download a new installer, install that alongside your existing version of SQL Server Management Studio, and yeah. Oh, I should have left Visual Studio open so that we could at least see my version of the data. And you know what? We'll do it on my local server first before doing it on test. That'll be fun, wouldn't it? Oh. I don't know if we've already shouted them out. Ubisoft. Yeah, just do it live. Science Streams is having a partner party today, doing the review of the games that were created around his Fly character, that I can never remember any of the names of his characters' names and stuff, that Big Gamey was trying to enter, and he had a good thing going, but then lost the project completely with some kind of power outage type of situation. But if you don't know Balint, he is a science-related streamer. He does things IRL, he does artistic things, but it's all science-based. A microbiologist, I think, is his actual field, and him and his wife, they are just very, very smart people that will teach you all of these amazing things. But it's not just about the teaching, it's the fun that you can have on his channel. So he currently is streaming. He did start his stream for his partner party, for his 2-year partner party. So yeah, enjoy. All right, moving on. I thought that I opened the project. Hello? I need a Visual Studio window open, please. Okay. All right. So back to SQL Server. We're going to create a new query. The first one that we're going to do is the one in treatment plants. This was the one where we needed to insert into tag table back again. Stop doing that. That's not funny. Values. And it's going to be no tag ID. Where are you trying to insert tag ID? Come on, Copilot. Please don't write these for me. View data. Oh man. Yeah, this is why there should be a tool for one, a tool in UI to Manage the tag index table. Why does that sound familiar? No. Dang. Maybe it was something that I was starting to do. Dang it. That really sucks. Okay. I want to add to my work items some backlog work. You've encountered an issue. No. Oh, Jiminy. A moment, please. You. You. There you are. Don't show this again and stay signed in. Marsta. Jippers. Okay, there we go. And we're back. Okay, so in water management, we need a work item, which is going to be a feature. Add tag table maintenance to maintenance page. Assigned to me, of course. The only one that matters. What even? Ignore that I said that. I have no idea what came out of my mouth just then. So on this page, I would like a tag table maintenance page where you can add new tags, because as you can see in this table, there is this tag index, and we are essentially inserting a new record right here. This is 1, which is going to move our tag index down by 1. So it's going to be tag index 76. Even though, and here's the other thing that I don't like, it's that we aren't actually using the tag index anymore. It used to be that when they imported this water level data from that other system, it would use position in order to know which well the water information was for. But now I have this map between the this and the this and stuff. So anyway, so what we're going to do then is write code that says insert into, all right, so the first code is going to be update tag table, and we can only do this once. Set tag index equals tag index plus 1, where tag index is greater than or equal to the first number, which is going to be 76. Then we're going to do another one, update tag table, set tag index equals tag index plus 1, where tag index, ready for the gotcha moment, is greater than or equal to RC26 which is going to be 101, but now it's 102. So, and then it will be 103. So we need greater than or equal to 10. Wait, the one after it. Dang it. 103. Okay, so 76 was here because we're going to insert something there. That moves this one to 102, but we need it here in 103. Okay. And then we're going to insert into tag table, tag name, tag index, tag type, tag data type, report label. Tag name, tag index, tag type, tag data type, for label. Values, NWBCS. I don't think backslash is treated as an escape character in SQL unless you tell it you want to use backslash as the escape character. So I think we should just be able to put in really, you should just be able to put in the string, I hope. That's what this whole testing is for anyway. Dewatering well number 22. NWBCS DW17. So this will be 22. It'll have a tag index of 76. It'll have a tag type of 2, tag data type of 1. I have no idea what those mean. They aren't used, but everything else has values for them. And then a well number of 22322, I think it was. 22322. And we're also going to insert 22426, which is going to be a recharge well to 6 at 103. Two 22426. Okay, and there we go. This should work. Oops. Shall we do it? I did it. Okay. Oh my goodness. This is good. So if I refresh, we shouldn't have any missing numbers, right? Except that down here, there are going to be 2 records, 76 and 103. We should be missing 103. And this is where the 103 one goes. And 76 goes here. Perfect. And then the records themselves look good. NWBCS, DW26, 76, 22322, 22426. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So now my next question is this data up to date with the current test database so that I can just run the code in the test database? Tag table. Select. NWBCS DW17 at 75, RC21 at 101. It looks exactly the same as my local which is weird. It's like, how long ago did I copy the RMA water or treatment plants data locally? That'd have been a long time ago, and it hasn't changed since then. So what I'm doing now on a different screen is running that same query on the test database. It says it's done. And so if I run the query order by tag index, and we take a look at that query, then these two should be identical. NWBCS, DW22 at 76, 22322. What's weird is, and I'm, why brain? I could have just ignored this. I want to ignore this, but my brain won't let me. Oh. Before I say too much, I'm going to check production and see if this is already the case. Select star from tag table. Order by tag index. Okay, if I look at NWBCS, dewatering wells, yeah, okay. So here's what I'm looking at. We saw that the wells for this list come from a different lookup table in a different database. So northwest boundary recharge wells should go 1 through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So 1 through 21, and then skip, and then end there, actually, until I add 26. However, what I remembered seeing when we were just now looking through this was that it went all the way through 25, which leads me to believe that 22, 23, 24, and 25 should be added to this tag table. So I guess I'm going to ask about that. In the flow type port. Flow type? Is that what it's called? Flow rate. Flow rates. NWBCS recharge shows well 1 through 25, but the tag table in treatment plant, oh my gosh, treatment plant database only goes from 1 through 21. Similarly for the dewatering wells, it's DFL, so it's dewatering flow, but it just always makes me think that for whatever reason. Weird, I know. Okay, so similarly for the DFL, well, in RMA water, it shows wells 1 through 21. Wells 1 through 21. But the tag table only has wells 1 through 17. If I recall correctly, we stopped at 17. Here's Visual Studio. $17. Should I also add the missing wells to the tag table? Okay. Jeepers. Am I right? Because if so, then we have a lot more tag index maneuvering to do. Okay. Point is that I ran the script in the test database, which means that if we go to test water, that we should now have a drop down for those in the flow rates table. And what happens if we try to do queries on it? It shouldn't error. It should just say no data was returned for the date range. So flow rates for northwest boundary extraction wells 1 through 22. Where's 22? Oh, duh. What am I thinking? I didn't add it to the RMA water tables. Now we need to do the RMA water table, which was something like lookup flow type well number, which I need a separate query window for. RMA water, new query. Insert into look up flow type well numbers, and we're gonna need the flow type for sure, but actually it's a pretty small table. Yeah. VU data. No, it's not. The name, the value, and the flow type ID, and the display order. Goodness. And we saw that the flow type ID was 12. For the dewatering, nope, this looks like recharge. Okay, so we're gonna do that. We need the name. We need the flow. We need the value. So because these are lookup tables, they actually, the name and value really do mean the display name and the value to get back from the text select, from the select element, which means that I am keeping some UI information in the database, which people might not necessarily agree with being a good idea. is totally okay. Flow type ID and display order. Okay, we're going to insert into U values, and this will be 26 for the dewatering, no, for the recharge well, 12, nope, 26, 26, because you guys are all just the same, right? You're just the 2-character well number. It's such a weird naming thing, but I guess it's possible that we will never hit 100 wells for a given zone. I don't know, man. I don't know. 12 and 26. Okay. Then we also need 22. Why I'm doing it in this order, I don't know. And that one was 11 for extraction wells. All right, I'm doing it. Jiminy, he just pushes the button like he doesn't care. Not just that, he's doing it on the test server too. Provided he can get to the right query window. New query. Pasta. Inserting. Okay. So now what that should have done is given us a new date timestamp on that record. And what my stuff does is it caches my stuff. What my logic for this site does is that it doesn't. I'm sorry. I'm about to lie to you, but I won't. What my normal logic for doing lookup lists on websites, on web applications does is it puts the lookup lists into IndexedDB, and those lookup lists almost always, actually they do always have a date timestamp on them. So if there's already at least one record in the database, then it gets the most recent lookup date, or the most recent updated date for that particular flow type, for example, that lookup list, and it says, server, give me back all new records or updated records for that lookup list type as of this date. Well. And Dukasoff has a question. So before your question, we are going to check to see if the wells show up in this list. And then I will answer your question, because we will essentially be done except for the extraction wells thing, where I will wait on the other person to try to update themselves and test. Okay. Scooch, you're in the way. Flow rates, northwest boundary, extraction wells 1 through 22, recharge wells 1 through 26. Come on. Okay, I need to figure out what's going on there. Dukasoff says, I've got another question. In override async task on initialized async, do I need to await base on initialized async? I don't think so. On initialized async would be empty as a lifecycle event. So I'm pretty sure that you can F12 on it, and you can see that is true. Where's uninitialized? I mean, where do I have something that has an uninitialized? Here. Yeah. So uninitialized and uninitialized async are empty, and there's no special anything. In fact, all of the lifecycle methods are empty. So you should never, except for set parameters, which you would want to call base set parameters before even doing anything in your override of set parameters, but it's rare that you would be manipulating set parameters. Yeah, you can see where they are manually calling the on after render async inside of their internal override or implementation of the interface. So even if you override on after render async, it won't call this. This will get called by Blazor. And then that will eventually call whatever the implemented on after render is, which is just a virtual method that's empty unless you override it. So the only times that I've been using return base on after render async is if I wasn't actually doing anything in my own code, like if it was just a pass through. But from then I normally just return task.completed task myself. But yeah, I learned how to check if I do or don't. Yeah. So I like to go to the thing that I'm overriding to figure out, is this doing any additional logic, or can I just not even have to call back to base? Suget. Okay, why didn't that work? What did you just start doing, Nerd Herder? Dancing. Tukasov says you just started dancing. Okay, I need... Oh, wow. So the reason this isn't showing up in test is because TBD was guiding my hand. He said, just do it in live. I just ran the lookup flow numbers update in production. 22 and 26. Oops. But that's okay. I mean, it's not breaking anything to do that. Drink more water. Why did I even have production open at all? Did it drop a table? Yes, it dropped all the tables. This one is test, and I want it to look like production, so I'm going to go ahead and run the query here too. Does that mean that the other one that I ran was on production? It's so hard to tell. Here. Okay, no, that actually happened on test, but you know what? I'm gonna do it in production. I'm confident in these changes. What else can I say? So Nerd Herder did tell us what he did. I will read it in 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Using records to form objects from an API response as well as DB query for comparison, so I can easily compare full value types for multiple properties. So easy and efficient. Absolutely. I haven't made very good use of records myself, so that sounds awesome. I am open to hearing your recommendations on that. So, for example, my database entities, they're all classes. I heard that they could be records, maybe, but I don't think you can modify properties of records, right? So it didn't make sense for me to do it when I'm starting a new record to be added to the database, adding more information to that record, and then ultimately creating my final version of the record later on. Did that make sense? So I'm still manipulating the object before I do the final dump to the database. So it didn't make sense for me to have my entities be records. But I've also heard of making records act like classes where you can change the property values. Imagine you have a record with 5 to 10 properties and you want to compare all of them with an external piece of data. You can just compare the two objects without iComparable, etc. Yeah, so I definitely know that. I struggled to use it. There's another issue. You said that you're using it in an API. I think one of the other issues I had was serializing a record. I can't remember for sure, but that's what sounds familiar. Cool, you haven't had that issue. Maybe I will revisit records again. All right. Because I've really wanted to use records more often because they are lighter weight, they are more efficient. As you said, comparing is easier. Creating a clone is super duper easy. Yeah. 1 through 22, 1 through 26. Okay, so test database and production database both have that updated. So yeah, the only other thing to do would be get the response on whether we need to add the additional wells. No, oh, tag index. Yes, tag index only. So we need to know whether we need to add the additional indexes. Zaid. So you're right about the record being immutable, but there are strange things that can be done. Says Nerd Herder. Except his laugh is even more maniacal than mine. Zaid just laughed. Dukasov said, I have an issue serializing a record. It just keeps spinning. You know, if you put your finger on the record, it stops spinning. You should try it. That looks like Love Who. You should try it. Okay, so I think we're done with that. I keep saying this. The two things that need to happen are we need to know whether we need to add the extra wells to the tag index for 2018 through 20 for the extraction wells and 22 through 25 for the recharge wells. And then the second thing is this well maintenance. I'm hoping that the person asking is going to be able to go in here and add 22322 to the extraction wells, because this is a tool that is intended to be used to dictate what wells show up in the extraction well chemical chart report for a given system, for a given date range even. So if we look at this and we look at the northwest boundaries, then we can see that at some point in time, no, First Creek would be a better one to look at. At some point in time, a well was replaced that used to be 37800 from the beginning of time. until October 1st, 2021, when it was replaced with 37830. So if we run a report for First Creek, let's just do some chemical that is in just about all of the water, and it spans a date range that encompasses that time, then it shows both wells. 9/30 2025 4. Then in our results we will get something that shows, oh, it probably doesn't have data then. Let's go back further in time. There we go. Had to go back further in time. It'll show that the well was sampled as 37800 at the time of this measurement. And then the rest of these measurements were 37830, but it will always chart as the most recent well number for that given period, which means that if we stop at a date before the well was replaced, it will be charted as only that previous well number. And then same thing with if we chart for after that date, it will only be shown as the new number with no parentheses for the old well number. So that was really, really fun to program. It broke my brain like 80,000 times in 200 million little pieces, and it's just putting it back together. That was really fun. But yeah, cool stuff. Point is, this tab dictates what well numbers get shown in that report, and they should be able to maintain, and in what order, and they should be able to maintain that. The only thing that this thing doesn't do is, let's say from September through 2023 through September or through October 2024 or whatever, reverse that, reverse the months for that. October 2023 through September 2024, this well appeared before that well, and then we started sampling them in a different order. And so yeah, there's no real way to do a date difference for that. It's weird. It's a very weird thing. I don't know. Like, it doesn't even make sense really to put these in a specific order other than having them show up on a report in that order. But the order doesn't really mean anything. Maybe it's actually how water flows through the arsenal. And so we should see a reduction in a certain amount of analyte as opposed to an increase in that amount of analyte. And if we ever see an increase, then we can tell which wells or wells it happened in between, and then we'd narrow down, dig here, find out the chemical makeup of this soil kind of situation. So never mind, it makes sense. I just rationalized it. Interesting. So 18, 19, 20, and 21 do appear in the extraction wells, but at the beginning, and then everything else appears in order. Huh? Whatever. Doesn't matter. Point is that we finished with that. Did I actually create that work item? Did I hit save? I did hit save. Okay. Good. Good. Everything is responded to. Customer's happy. I'm actually going to end my stream here. I'm going to work for the next 20 minutes, but it'll also give me time to stay lurking on whoever we happen to go raid, which I'm sure you can guess who we're going to raid. But it will also make it easier for me to switch profiles at the end of my workday to get over to the music stream. Yeah, I got words. So that's going to be it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. Thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed you being here. We're going to raid out to Cyan Streams, who's having a partner party. He's one of the I would call him a major streamer. He's one of the major streamers I'm okay with raiding. We're known in his community. Just about every single one of you talks in his community, hangs out with him. And I don't feel like the awkwardness that I would feel if we're raiding into some other big streamer that, yeah. Wait, why are you waiting? Okay, I thought he was waiting. Cool. So yeah, thanks. I'll start the music stream as close to 1:30 as I can. Probably will be 1:45, 2 o'clock at the latest. So within the next 20 to 50 minutes. Or between 20 minutes from now and 50 minutes from now is what I meant. Okay, here's our raid. Don't really have a raid call, but we're heading over there. I'll be lurking there and finishing up my workday, filling in my time card. My videos get posted to YouTube pretty much immediately after, since I am multi-streaming. I'm targeting YouTube and Twitch at the same time. Next time I'll remember to have my restream bot echoing chat, forwarding chat correctly. And yeah, create our own restream chat type thing, or what? Because that would be great. Oh, raid message, raid call. Gotcha. Yeah, so I guess the raid call is I don't know. I can't think of one. I'm not good at this game. Let's play a different one. And remember, if life doesn't give you lemons, find your own. Ciao for now.